really appreciate, and you're doing it here too, there's enthusiasm, right, for the kind of future and vision that everybody wants. And I want to tell you that 2 years ago, and I know that we introduced Marg Ellison, but I want to give her a shout out, and Fred Harris, who keeps my office coming with interns. I love them. Really dedicated, smart, passionate, energetic young people. When I announced I was running for governor almost 2 years ago, so when I have Brian say, 66 days and so many hours, I have to say, whew, it's been a long time, 2 years. It's been 2 incredible years. But when I started, we'd come into communities, and these tours were, and should be, more about listening. They were hard places, hard communities to go to. Because people would line up and tell me everything that was going wrong. And it really hurt. And in addition to that, it didn't matter what it was. Whether it was health care, right? We talked about education, okay? Just lost their job, right? That they were losing housing, that they've been waiting in line to get benefits, that they weren't going to get them, that their son just got told, I just got this one, not too recently, just recently, that their son was told with a developmental disability that instead of the 10 years and they've got 1 more year to wait, it's going to be maybe 10 years more. But every single community was full of those issues, and people were on the verge of being so angry that they've lost the ability to have hope and optimism. And that hurts, because this is a state I believe in, and a state that I absolutely love. I know in the same ways that you do. But that is not what we are seeing on the campaign trail today. And even though I got that story, this is a woman that said, I'm ready to fight to fix that waiver. All right? I'm ready to make sure that these people elected who are running state government are really clear that they work for me and my community and my family. And that feels good, because that's something we can all work with, where every New Mexican is completely and entirely dedicated to a brand new vision for our future. And so for me, it really is the beginning, because this is where I was born, in this wonderful community. Thank you. Yeah, my dad was the very first dentist here in Los Alamos when it became an open community. I lived on Sage Loop. Aha, I finally got one on you. And I went to Canyon School, and this was an incredible place to get that start. My brother was born here, my sister was born here. Fortunately, my sister got sick here, and it meant that we had to start moving, right, to get closer to the kind of health care, because this was a brand new community that my sister was going to need for her whole life. But my dad never lost those roots. He continued to practice dentistry here and in every little northern community in Santa Fe until he died at 83 years of age. And at the time, he had the longest continual dental practice in the state of New Mexico. So it was just over 50 years, which is incredible, right? Because he didn't want to stop serving. He never stopped believing in this community. So this is, for me, where it all starts. And in this tour, how many days I've left? Let's see, we got today's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Saturday, we're going to do this Sunday, we're going to do this Monday. All right, we will have finished 10 consecutive days, 33 counties. I know that you heard this, at least 50 communities, because we might have made a couple of detours. You got to do that for the world's best pie in New Mexico, and for the world's best shop. You got to make those detours, and it's been incredible. So this optimism, having you here today, tells me that we're all ready to take our state government right back. Right? We're going to take it back. I've been able to tell this story. I wanted that Brian could recite this story, but it makes me happy to tell this story. So I just got back from a meeting with a bunch of governors. All right, and these governors are very interested in getting like-minded governors elected and to have a block in the West and the Southwest. And actually, the Western Governors Association is the most powerful governors association in the country. Partially because it's bipartisan, but also the issues and values about the Western, Southwestern states are pretty homogenous. So we're really working to make sure that we deal with water, right? We're very clear about land, outdoor economy, renewable energy. I mean, this is where all of that is going to happen. Not only all that innovation, but all that work to make sure that the rest of the country can follow suit. We can push back against a federal agenda that is today not about any of those things. And governors are incredibly competitive human beings, right? Their state is the best, my state is the best, to the exclusion of everybody else. And I would say to you that we don't have that in our state. And we deserve having a governor that believes in a state and is an incredible champion. But here it goes. So Hickenlooper is the first governor to get on the stage. And he gets up there and he says, Colorado's got the fastest growing economy in the country. Right, he gets off that stage. And then Jay Inslee from Washington says, we have the best high-tech economy in the country. Mic drop. All right, and then Bullock gets up there and he says, Montana. Now, Montana leads the United States in ecotourism and outdoor economy. We are going to build that and show that clean industry can sustain forever an entire state's economy. And then his chest gets big. And they all go to the side. Well, it's my turn. It's my turn to get up. And they're looking a little sheepish because they're not sure I'm going to be able to do anything about competing where New Mexico is. And I proudly took that mic and I stood right up and said, boys, your days of bragging have ended. They're done. Because this is what I have that none of you have, right? Our skies are bluer. Our aerospace is clearer. Our land is better. Our people are smarter. You got one lab. We got two. So, you can't even keep up. You got no options there. All right? And Montana, those trout, what are they, like 3-4 inches? Have you been to the quality waters? Even our fish are bigger than yours. You can't compete with Chile, the Rockies start in New Mexico. We're the third sunniest state in the nation. It's blowing all the time, and all I see is renewable energy. Right? Who can and who will. We have far more potential than we have challenges. And in fact, what those other governors will say often when we're not in the room is that New Mexico succeeded its leadership in every one of those areas, that we started in art economy, that we started a tech economy, that we started a film production economy, and then we give it away. There is no reason for us to do that. And those kinds of economies, from cybersecurity to aerospace, from films to an outdoor economy, mean meaningful long-term jobs in every single community, which is another lesson right here you demonstrate every day. It doesn't matter how big your community is, it just matters whether or not you've got an economic anchor that allows folks to have serious choices for their future. And if we do that in every single community, no matter how small, no matter how frontier, including Pie Town, then we've got real opportunity here. And we have to use that as our vision, short-term, long-term. And that vision allows you to address every other single issue, right? From advancing and protecting our environment to being #1 in public education by just determining that we will do not just one thing. Everyone says that to me. What's the one thing, Michelle, you're going to do for education? Well, if I'm only going to do one thing, it won't be enough. I mean, that really is the answer. We're never going to be myopic about public education again. It requires an all-hands-on deck. Now, there are easy things to start with. Here's the easiest thing that I can do, and I get to do it the second you get me elected. And I hope that happens as quickly as it did in the primary. At 7:10, I need someone to say I've been elected governor. And that all depends on how many folks we turn out. But you call every educator and say thank you for what you've done in the state and for hanging on. Right. We need you, we value you, and we respect you. That all by itself allows us to create an environment where folks are willing to work hard together, right? They have been demoralized, and they have been, in my opinion, viciously used, right, as the example of poor public education, and it's completely unfair. Now, that doesn't mean that they have any of the tools or resources to do their jobs, and they don't. We must pay them. We must do their professional development. We must make sure that when you're an educator and you get a raise, that you're not paying higher co-pays for your health care and in a new tax bracket so that you're taking less pay home. No one can stay in that location even if they want to. And we've got to have the kind of assessments, my goodness, how many researchers, scientists, quantitative analysts do we have in this audience right here? Don't be shy, I know you're here. Right? We need quantitative data. We know how to do that. We don't need a national standardized test to take us to a place where we can get real data that shows us what we're doing. We know how to do that, and the experts right here. We develop those tools. And in fact, Nebraska, that has done its own assessment tools for their public education, they are clear about achievement gaps. They are clear. They are now one of the leading states in the nation with achieving, right, closing those gaps and making sure that the goals that they want in public education, they are being reached in every single school, in every single community, and the schools who have been secretly doing those self-assessments, right, along with Park, are showing also that they're meeting the standards that all the national top schools are meeting as well. So we're already doing it. We know how to do it. You need a government that supports that doesn't get in the way. And how about a state government that doesn't take anywhere, we're going to get the numbers here shortly, from $300 million to $600 million out of our children's classrooms. How was that even possible? I'll tell you how, because the current administration was trying to starve it to death, and they nearly got there. And we aren't going to let that happen. And so I'm excited about it, and I feel absolutely, I hope it doesn't show. I bet it does. And I'm enthusiastic about getting that done. And getting that means that we can also do something about healthcare. If there was ever a state, earnestly, that can figure out a healthcare design that uses this as its fundamental effort, it's a human right. If you start there, we can build a healthcare system. The federal government, no matter what bills are there, in the short term, they are not going to help us. We're going to do it. And we're going to do it in one way, by following the New Mexico Health Security Act as one potential serious design. We're going to be the only state that figured out healthcare because we have kind of an all-of-the-above approach, and I'm going to use Medicaid, probably too in the weeds, maybe not for this community. This could be my favorite one, in terms of being able to talk about very specific policy. Thank you. I got 2 thumbs up back there. Medicare is how we pay for and match up physicians to residencies. No clinical residency and training, you don't get to be a doctor. Do you know that we graduate lots of docs and never let them ever be a doctor because they never get matched? True, because we have not lifted the caps on how many of those matching programs are available. And we're not going to in the next little while in Congress unless we also get Sochi elected and Deb Haaland. We're going to be on our way to taking over Congress, but it's not soon enough for us. Not their election, but the Medicare changes. So guess what else you could do? You know, governors can do the very same thing with Medicaid. I don't have to wait for the federal administration. I don't have to wait for Congress. I can pay for those matching programs 90-10. 90-10, 90% of it paid by the feds. I can do those matching programs. We can pay for those doctors. We can bring them here. We can do loans forgiveness. That is your money, and I got a strong sense you'd like to see it returned right back here for just those kinds of investments. So those are just a couple of ideas. We're chock full of them. And that's because we did this 2 years ago and we asked you what was most important, what you wanted for your families. how we can make a difference. So I'm hoping that you're here because we already convinced you. But if we hadn't, I hope that this was the trick. Because now we got 67 days, and this is what I need from you. I need to know that you will make calls, that you will walk, that you will volunteer, that you will call every single person that you work with, that you shop with, that you exercise with, that you go to church with, that you eat Frito pies with, whatever it is. You've got to get them out to vote, because if people turn out, we're going to win. Yeah. Christine Chandler, if you get the vote out, is going to win. If we don't turn out, and these elections, my election, Brian's election, will be decided in the North. If we get everybody out, we've got a lot of celebrating and then a lot of hard work. Because I'm coming right back here, and you and I got to get it all figured out. All right? And we can do that. But we've got to get to the polls. And I'm going to end with, since I've been in politics, people say, I know that Mark, you're going to say the same thing. This is the most important election. They're all the most important elections. That's actually the secret. There's no such thing as an election that we take for granted. It's not who we are. It's not what we should do. And we have learned, by golly, our lessons over and over again. So, please, are you ready to do the work for the next 67 days to get out the election, up and down the ticket?